All right. I am here once again with Cryptorich, with Rich, who I know everyone is familiar with. We are ready to talk about crypto some more and cryptocurrency, very hot topic. And we've got a very special guest with us. We have Hash Rates, and Hash Rates is working on or working with a very interesting protocol called the Etho Protocol. So let's just jump right into it. Hash Rates, give us some context. What is the Etho Protocol? What are you working on? Tell us about this project.
Well, Alex, thanks for having us. We appreciate that. And Cryptorich, it's always good to see you. He's one of our. He's been a big fan of the project and following us for a long time. Etho Protocol, quite frankly, it's very simple. It's basically a decentralized hosting or publishing platform. So if you have something that you want to say, or you want to host, or you want to share, or you have data, you can use our platform to do that. And because it's decentralized and it's based on cryptocurrency, there's anonymity for the people that upload the content. And also because it's decentralized and we're an open source organization, there is no kill button, so to speak. So, if you happen to host your data with Amazon or GoDaddy or Google Cloud or any of these other hosting providers, as we've seen here in the United States recently, if they don't happen to like what you say, they just turn you off, right? They push the button and you're gone. So Etho Protocol was invented by a gentleman named James Riley. He's the founder of the project, and he basically took Ethereum cryptocurrency and meshed it with this thing called the IPFS, which means the Interplanetary File System. Don't worry about what that means, but it basically means it's one gigantic hard drive in the sky that everybody shares and participates in. And so what we've done is by making it cryptocurrency enabled, is that you can host your content on our platform. You pay for it using our native cryptocurrency. It's super inexpensive to do, and because it's decentralized and it's censorship free, we are enabling free speech. As a matter of fact, we have a whole new website going up, hopefully this week, that talks about that messaging. And in the last year or two, we've really exploded as a project because people are tired, of censorship. And so when Etho Protocol was launched in 2018, I came along in 2019. I was a miner, hence my name, Hash Rates. So I was mining cryptocurrencies, and I found this little project, and I started mining it, and I started reading about it. And I looked at it's free speech platform, and I said, oh my God, here is an actual cryptocurrency project with a mission statement and utility and a real world use case, right? And then I started volunteering my time, and I got sucked into the project. And again, we are an all volunteer open source project. There is no pre-mine, there is nobody getting paid. It's just people that want to enable freedom of expression and free speech. And so because we are decentralized, when you upload your content, it's distributed to servers that are run by volunteers, hundreds and hundreds of them around the world, in this big, gigantic hard drive in the sky. And so what happens with that is if you happen to have content that's uploaded to a particular service, as mentioned before, if they don't like what you're saying, they could just disconnect you. They say, hey, our terms in service say we don't like your message, and we're going to unplug you because we don't agree with what you have to say. Well, with us, you upload it to this gigantic volunteer cloud, and there is nobody to unplug you. And not only that, your data isn't stored on one server, but it's distributed over hundreds of servers around the world. So now there's not a central point of failure. So let's say, for example, they said, hey, we don't like what Alex is saying, and Alex's server is in, I don't know, New York, and we got the IP address. We're going to attack that server and go after Alex's message. But because we're distributed around the world, there isn't a single server to go after, and that's called a DDoS protection. And then what's even more unique is because it's volunteer, if there was a legal injunction, there's nobody to serve it against because there's no corporation. There is nobody to pull the plug. So if they said, we don't like what they have to say in New York City, and one of the prosecutors there said, take down your website, and they went to serve the cease and desist order, there's nobody to serve it on, right? We don't exist. It's because of this cloud environment. I mean, everything's volunteer. And let's just say, for example, that they managed to get an injunction. Well, not only is there nobody to serve it on, but because your data could be hosted on 10 or 15 jurisdictions. Your data could be in, I don't know, Cyprus server. It could be on a server in the UK. It could be on a server down in Argentina. It could be on a server in Japan, 4 or 5 servers in the United States, and 1 in Mexico. So if they got an injunction, well, maybe the New York server goes down, but there's another dozen that have your data on it. So not only, and we didn't think about this, thinking about jurisdictionally about having disparate data. The idea was from a technical standpoint, hey, we don't want to have all our data right on one server, right? You want to have multiple servers. But it also provides a jurisdictional protection, so to speak. So, this little project that started out is kind of an idea from a technical standpoint due to just these, unbelievable changes in our society and and basically the inability to have free speech or the inability to not be censored by central corporations, or this cartel on the internet. I started back in the mid 90s. I had one of the first ISPs. And back in the 90s, there was hundreds of ISPs in the United States, right? You'd have servers and data and everywhere. But now it's controlled by a cartel, right? You've got Google, you've got Microsoft, you've got Amazon, you've got IBM Cloud, and you've got, Acme, and you've probably got, 10 or 15 data providers. And not only do they run it in the United States, but they run data around the world. They own the pipes, they own the fiber, they own the data centers. And so and they don't have to be political. They don't like what you're saying. They pull the plug. Too bad for you. They don't care. So Etho Protocol, which started out as a technical solution for being able to have robust data, is now turning out to have a much broader mission statement, right? For the ability to let people publish content and not be censored. And so this year we've been explosive. Our cryptocurrency price at one point was up 40x from the beginning of the year. We're a small project. Our crypto trades in the low pennies. We're up to 40, 45 cents this year. It's back down a little bit as the word got out. So it's an exciting space to be. And our little project, it means it's more important now than ever, right? It really is, because this censorship is just out of control. It's mind-boggling.
So Rich, it's really exciting stuff. Rich, this is huge to me. I mean, especially the time that we're living with all the censorship and everything that's going on. I think probably the most famous example, the most famous recent example was Parler. And we saw how pretty much all of big tech colluded against Parler, and they knocked the site out, including Amazon Web Services. And that was the big blow. I mean, that's what really knocked out Parler, because Parler was rising. It was going to be a competitor to Twitter. But of course, it was centralized, and it was hosted with Amazon Web Services. It had its apps on the Play Store and on Apple iTunes. But it was that blow from Amazon that took the site offline. Gosh, I think for maybe even a month. I mean, they were offline for
more than that. They were down for 3 months.
Yeah, for a long time. I mean, this is, we're always fixated on talking about all the problems that we have in the news today, Rich, but this is a real solution. I mean, a real solution. What do you make of Etho Protocol and what it does for society?
Oh, well, I'm obviously a fan. So, they're part of the blockchain privacy, security, and adoption alliance, which includes Pirate Chain and also Sentinel. And I was on with Dan from Sentinel, talking about their decentralized VPN. And I think it's just critical, because what Etho Protocol preserves is the source of creativity, which is free-flowing debate and information, free-flowing discourse. If you don't have free-flowing discourse, then new ideas don't get to emerge. We all just get to go down this one authoritarian tunnel, the only one that we're allowed, and it just kills off creativity and innovation. So I think that's really, really important. And I think as a decentralized project, well, it can't be defeated. And how I think it's going to go, how I think the world is going to go, Alex, is either the authoritarians are going to win out, in which case Etho Protocol will still prevail, or the authoritarians aren't going to win out, in which case we're going to have the flourishing of decentralized solutions like Etho Protocol, which will prevail. So I hope I've answered your
Makes sense. Hash rates get take me into a little bit how this works. I have a website. Let's start at a very basic level. I have a website. I want to get on this decentralized platform. What do I do?
Okay, so here's the way that it works, and it has to do with the technology. And I don't want to get too much into technology discussion, but you can go into, we have a little upload page, and you basically just upload your content to our system, right? There's a little box, and you can say upload, and you put in your cryptocurrency, the Etho Protocol, and you pay for how much data you have and how long you want to host it, right? So it's paid up front in a cryptocurrency contract. And by the way, to make sure everybody understands, the network operates at cost, right? Nobody's making money. We don't have a profit center, right? It's not like we've got a P&L and we've got a marketing department. Even though I do business development, it's because I'm a volunteer. It's not like we have a corporation. So when you pay the network. And what that means is there's a smart contract. It says, okay, here's my data. Let's pretend your data's in this little thing right here. Here's your website in here. And you upload the data and you say, I want to host this for a year. And it says, okay, how much is it? Okay, that's 20 megabytes or 100 megabytes or however big your website is. And it says, okay, you want to host it for a year. It says X. And the cost is, right now, the wholesale cost is 1 meg for 1 year for 1 cent. 111. Now, you go, wow, that's really cheap. It is and it isn't, and I don't want to be I don't want to be how can I say? I want to be put it in perspective. We are a hosting provider. We are not a storage provider, and there's a big difference. Storage, like Dropbox or Google or other places, right? Once again, centralized locations. They are storage, right? If you were going to have a terabyte of data on our network, that would be $10,000 a year, right? A terabyte on Dropbox is $100 a year. So Dropbox is $100. We're $10,000. So you don't really want to store data on our system. Now, with that said, your data is replicated on our system about 10 to 15 times. So it really wouldn't be one Dropbox account. It'd be 10 or 15 of them, right? So that would be, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500. But still, considering we're more expensive than that, we're really not for mass storage. What we are is for important, mission-critical business information or your information, right? Information that you don't want to go down, information that you want to make sure is up and running all the time, censorship-free, resistant against attacks, resistance against computer failures, resistance against government censorship, right? So if you're hosting terabytes of data like you had a YouTube channel, we're really not the people for that. But if you're going to have an average website or a blog or sharing typical information, that's really not a lot of stuff. It costs you $10-15 a year, right? But you wouldn't want to dump your wedding video on our system, right? That's not what we're about. But anyway, so you log into this web page, you upload your data. You take that data and you can put it into it interfaces with the typical DNS system. So like a regular website, you have to be able to do a little bit technical stuff. It's not as easy as WordPress, but at the same time, that's not our mission statement. Our mission statement is you've got redundant data in multiple locations around the world that's censorship proof, that's can't be turned off by any jurisdiction or any government. And it's disparate, right? And that's what we bring. Like I said, the perfect customer for us would be WikiLeaks, somebody like that, right? And we probably wouldn't want to have their big data dumps, but the WikiLeaks website, right? The website that you never want to go down, where you want to be able to have all the reference information and have all the materials and all the links and the central storage, like the central depository of what your world or your message is, would be great. That's kind of where we're at. So, we're not, and that's the way it works. So you and with our cryptocurrency, you can buy it on exchanges, you can mine it. There's a lot of different ways to get it, and that's how you pay for it. So typically still today in the cryptocurrency space, particularly if you happen to mine it, which is really easy to do. But when you go to buy it, you can get it pretty much anonymously. We have different swaps where you can actually get it through smart contracts. So there's a lot of ways to attain our cryptocurrency without having to go through KYC, where you've got to show your driver's license, your social security card, your passport, your national ID. None of that's required. So, and because it's a cryptocurrency transaction, it's completely anonymous, right? We don't know who you are. We don't know what wallet address you are, who owns your wallet, or who paid for it. We don't want to know. It's not our business. All we know is we have a platform that thousands and thousands of people around the world participate in, and I run some of those servers, right? I participate in that server network along with hundreds of other people. So actually, Rich also has got a server on our network. So people volunteer and run these servers as a collective to be able to operate this system. And then that money that you pay for the hosting, like let's say $20 a year for your website, it actually gets distributed to all the people that run the servers in micropayments. So everybody gets a little piece, and it's at cost. So for example, a server costs $50 or $60 a year, maybe $100 a year, depending on the kind of server you have. And if you get all these little micropayments, at the end of the year, you kind of break even on it, right? So the idea is the network is run at cost. It's not here to try to make money or be a profit center. It's this volunteer system from like-minded individuals around the world, collectively bringing technology and finance and free speech together in a platform that cannot be attacked by any government or any third party. And it's really cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Can I just ask something? Excuse me, Alex. Can you give some examples of some of the censorship-resistant websites that are using your platform?
I'm trying to think. The problem with that is because it's all encrypted, we don't really know who's using our site. I have one business customer that's actually using it for business documents because of the resiliency. But I can't really tell you who's using our stuff, right? Because it's all encrypted. So we do have a page called info@ethoprotocol.com. And on that page is a stats page that shows all the hosting contracts. So we can see how many people are joining the network, who's adding content, not who, but how many. But we don't know who it is, right? It's invisible to us. So you could say, I'd like to be able to say, well, yeah, I've got X, Y, and Z are our customers. I don't know. I can't see it. I mean, that's the beauty of the system. I'm hoping that when we have somebody like WikiLeaks, or we can land some brand name and they want to encourage people to take use of our system, that they'll come to us and they'll say, hey, you can use our name, and let everybody know that we're using us, right? But right now we have people adding content all the time, but we don't know who it is. I don't know. I don't want to know.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Can I ask you a question, Hashrates? We're so early in this. And you mentioned that the pricing and how your customer right now is a WikiLeaks. You don't want people hosting video sites or sites which require a lot of storage. But we're so early in the game right now. You could have easily said the same thing about storage and hosting 15, 20 years ago. You would have never been able to have a Dropbox 20 years ago. It would have been too expensive. Do you see the same thing happening in this specific space that you're in? Decentralized hosting, decentralized content delivery. We're early now, and yes, it may cost $10,000 a month to host a YouTube on the Etho Protocol. But looking forward 5, 10 years in the future, this may actually be a reality where you could host a YouTube on a decentralized platform like Etho Protocol. What I'm saying is that we're now at the beginning. Looking forward, do you see this getting to a point where the Dropboxes, the Google Drives, all of this stuff just becomes, decentralized storage? What are you talking about, man? Put it on the Etho Protocol.
There you go. Yeah, it's interesting. So with our system, just to be brutally honest, right? It requires a little bit of technical skill, right? Because we're new technology and we're cryptocurrency based. I'd like to be able to say that just anybody could use it. We're not just as easy as going to GoDaddy and clicking the button and having your WordPress website, right? We're not quite that simple. You need to have a little bit more technical skill. So with time, as Etho Protocol matures, we will have better tool sets that'll make that easier, right? The cost of the network, as we grow and more people add capacity to it, then we get economies of scale and the cost will go down, right? Like everything else. So the answer is yes and yes. You know, over time will be easier to use. Over time will be cheaper to use. And then you have to say to yourself, the bigger question, really, right, which we're all facing in this cryptocurrency world, and that is, and now we're getting into, I don't want to say politics, but really vision here, right? And that is centralized versus decentralized. And while Etho Protocol is a decentralized hosting solution, you have to think about centralization in the human existence, all right? Right now, the richest companies in the world are centralizing your data and monetizing you, right? You. I love that phrase. If the product's for free, if the solution's for free, you're the product, right? And so Twitter takes your data and they look at everything you do and they figure out a way to squeeze money out of you. They monetize you. And so this whole decentralized movement will be ownership of yourself over time. When you put your data on Etho Protocol, right, eventually it's your data, it's yours. And if you decide, like Brave browser, right? Brave browser is cool. Think about Brave. You use Brave browser. If you look at an ad, you get paid, not Google. Google doesn't get paid with Brave. You get paid. I love those guys at Brave browser, right? And so this idea that we can start taking back our individual liberty and our information. If I want to monetize what Hashrates does online, then I should participate in that income stream rather than giving it to Google or Apple or Microsoft or somebody else. And so, a matter of fact, can we put this on hold? I want to grab a book real quick. Can we time out real quick? To talk about the decentralized movement, right? Now, nothing in it for me. This book here, Life After Google. The author that wrote this book is like 80 years old. He's some old guy. He talks about the next wave in technology off of Google and centralized technology into the entire shift of humanity to the decentralized world, where everything hopefully will become decentralized. Your person and your data comes decentralized. Your individuality, you know, like your credit score, right? You have all the credit agencies, they own your credit score. You don't own it, but it's yours, right? This book, Life Beyond Google, was written probably, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. Some old guy wrote it. It is extraordinary talking about what's life beyond Google. When we get away from going to Google this and Google that, decentralized data, decentralized information, decentralized vision, and how that'll be the next wave. And you can bet, just like the banks are fighting cryptocurrency, right? Hey, why do I need to pay Visa and MasterCard to cut up my fees because they make money on it? Why do I need to pay PayPal some of the money because they're centralized? You can bet that Google and the rest of these guys are going to fight decentralization of your data because they're monetizing you, right? So Etho Protocol, we're just a little gnat, right? We're just a grain of sand in the future of this decentralized movement. I hope it comes true. Life After Google. It's you got to read the book. It's fascinating, and particularly because it was written in a guy in his late 70s or his early 80s. I believe, and it's quite interesting he'd have such vision. So we have to get past this centralization, right? For humanity, we have to get past. We have to get back ownership of ourselves and our data and our being. I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for. And so when I found Etho Protocol, this was just one small way that I could help that transition or be part of what I think is very important.
Rich, how are they going to fight back? How do you think Google and big tech are going to fight back? Because they're not going to take this lying down. That's for damn sure. But you know, with each, what's the phrase? With each action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So the more they look to centralize, which they are doing, whether you're looking at the banks, Wall Street, the regulations now that are coming on DeFi, specifically decentralized finance. when you're looking at big tech and the way they're looking to centralize everything. Actually, I read that Facebook is going to be using Coinbase to come up with a stable coin. So Coinbase is going to be is going to provide the custodial services for Facebook's stable coin. How are they going to fight this, Rich? How do you see this playing out?
I think what they're going to try and do is ring fence us, to keep us inside this centralized coral. And I think vaccine passes are part of that whole project. It'll take time. And then we have central bank digital currencies. I think the other thing they'll do is they will try and deal with or disappear or regulate the fiat on-ramps and off-ramps for cryptocurrencies. But I don't think they'll succeed.
Explain the on-ramps and off-ramps real quick for
so if I have Etho Protocol, I run a node, thanks to hash rates, I run a node, and I earn a little bit of Etho. And if after some time I want to use that Etho to cash in for something else, then I need to convert it, say, to fiat. I want to convert it to pounds to use in my local store. So those are the off-ramps that I can go from crypto onto fiat, or the on-ramps from fiat onto crypto. Those can all be regulated. Except I think what's likely to emerge, and in some respects is already emerging, is an alternative economy where people are, that you got your central bank digital currencies through your vaccine pass and your social credit score in China and all, like they got in China, right? And I don't think that project is going to prevail and succeed or last. And then you're going to have an alternative economy, a sort of cryptocurrency informal economy, where people will be trading using different cryptocurrencies, like Etho Protocol. Because how are they going to regulate a volunteer-run, completely decentralized network? They've not managed to get rid of Pirate Bay or file sharing. They can't get rid of BitTorrent. How do you do that? You can't. I think I said it on your show. I've certainly said it on another show, right? It's like, if you think of ants' nests, they're completely decentralized. You can't get rid of all the ants. I mean, if you can, and you destroy the entire planet in the process to get rid of the ants, but they're just all over the place. There's no central point of control that can be attacked. So that's how I think it'll play out. And then at some point, as people, the other thing I think is people's human being psychology. We want agency at an individual level and at a macro level. You know, who am I, Alex, to tell you what you got to wear or where you got to be, when you got to be? You want agency over your own life. Human beings want agency. We're always struggling for agency. And whenever our agency tries to get suppressed, well, we'll find ways of creating agency for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, let me try to play devil's advocate, hash rates, for you, and we'll wrap up the video. And by the way, I'm going to put all the information, everybody, to Etho Protocol underneath this this video down below, as well as Rich's information underneath this video, so everybody can reach out to Etho Protocol. They can reach out to Rich as well, and they could understand this project. And hopefully, we'll do more videos with you, hash rates, as well as the project progresses. But let me play devil's advocate for a little bit, and maybe some people that'll come up with this argument. And I'll focus on the music business. When music went digital, I remember you had Napster. Remember Napster? Now, Napster was peer-to-peer, and you were able to get the music, but it was centralized. And then we hit a phase where things got kind of decentralized for a bit. But then the lawyers stepped in. And then Spotify came in to fill the gap. And then Apple iTunes as well came in to fill the gap. And people kind of, they were in this decentralized mindset for a little bit after Napster. And Napster also had its legal issues, so they got knocked out. And things got a little decentralized with music sharing. But people didn't really know where to go. You know, they were going a little bit here, a little bit there. There wasn't really a critical mass of people saying, this is the service that I really like. This is the Etho Protocol for music. Let's all go here. Let's use this for decentralized music sharing. Then came iTunes. Then came Spotify as well. And the lawyers, they all worked together. And they made the music business, once again, a centralized pay-per-song model. Do you see this going the same way? Do you see lawyers? Do you see a business coming up maybe something that Google has invested in, maybe something that Google creates or Facebook creates. I did mention that Facebook is trying to get into crypto. They're really trying to get into crypto really hard. They want in. Do you see them as saying, you know what? Let's all work together. The lawyers, just try to knock these guys out somehow. I don't care how. Try to knock them out. Maybe we get our marketing teams together to try to muddy the waters so people don't all congregate to one service, right? And then let's come up with a Spotify type of service which says, oh, we've got the solution, everybody. You're going to pay for hosting $1 a gigabyte, and it's going to be delivered via, I don't know, a streaming type of technology. I'm just making crap up, but via this new streaming type of thing, and we're going to call it Facebookify. And there you go. You guys we've given you guys the future solution.
Hash rates, do you want to respond to that?
Well, yeah, again, our solution, our customer is the content provider, right? And so if you have a website or content or blog or message that you want to be able to have freedom of expression or freedom of speech, it could be a one-pager, it could be thousands of pages. Like I said, we're good for anything just other than probably raw video, right? We're a great platform for that. And so our customers are people that are out there that are interested in that. And like for this business solution that's using us, they like it because we're just a robust business solution, right? These are actually export documents for this for the Netherlands, right? It's an export company putting their actual export documents on our backbone because these documents have to be hosted and they have to be viable for 7 years. They bought a little micro hosting contract. Each document gets a hosting contract, and it's on our network for 7 years. And they set it and they forget it, right? So we also have regular just people using our network on the business side. So our solution is we're looking for people that have a specific data need, and that is from let's say the consumer standpoint, people that want freedom of speech, right? That do not want to be censored. And we happen to have also a business use for people that have mission critical data because they just like our technical infrastructure. That's not a freedom of speech thing. They just like our hosting platform. They're like, hey, this is really cool. And the people behind that also like a little bit of the decentralized. They like the idea that it's not Google hosting their data, believe it or not. They like that it's not Amazon. So I think that is we're providing a community-based, cloud-based solution. And anybody can participate. You can use it. You can host stuff on it. You can help be a hosting person like I do and like Rich does. You can actually participate and provide the services. And so I think that people are getting tired of the centralized approach. And I see there's two types of people. There's people that just don't give an S. They don't give a shit about it. And there's others that do. And they're saying, you know what, this may be more difficult to use, but I just don't want to be a Google. I don't want to be Googled again. I don't want to be Amazon again. I don't want to be Appled again. I don't want my data being controlled again. I want it outside of this system. Little data freedom fighters, right, that are making one little statement at a time. That's what we're attracting now. I think over time, people are going to get tired of being monetized. If you don't care about being monetized, then go use Google Drive for free. God bless you. If you don't care, if you don't like, I even got an iPhone, my first iPhone yet. I finally got an iPhone. Guess what? They're now scanning my images to see if I've got kiddie porn. I'm not for kiddie porn, that's for sure. I'm a father. I've got kids, right? I'm not for that. But yet Apple publicly stated they're scanning your phone every day to see what you've got on it. Oh, but the algorithms, it's for your protection. Is it really? Maybe the next algorithm is going to say, we don't like cryptocurrency while it's on your phone because it's dangerous. Who knows what's going to happen next? That's scary. So, the question becomes are there digital freedom fighters out there that want to have individual liberty for their messaging, for their data? And is that army going to grow over time? And my answer, Alex, is yes. That army is going to grow over time. And because
that was yeah.
I'm not worried about those other guys. There'll be people say, hey, I just want the free freaking hosting and I don't care. Hey, if you want to be the product and you want to be sold and you want to be monetized and you don't care, that's fine. But I think more and more people than the general populace are saying, I don't want that, but I don't know about solutions. I don't know how to do anything about it. I don't know where else to go. And I'm thinking the cryptocurrency decentralized, the entire global, the entire gamut of solutions are starting to move into the mainstream, and people are waking up and starting to realize there is an alternative. It may not be easy. It may not be a one-click website yet, but it is now springing up, right? And that's what gives me hope, that people are going to say, I'm tired of this. Little data freedom fighters, you know? That's how I got started.
Rich,
Yep. Yep.
Rich, that's the difference, isn't it? When I was talking about the music example with music, Napster, going to decentralized, going to a Spotify, a dollar paid solution. The difference with all of this is that people are waking up to crypto and the blockchain. And that is what's going to attract the people, the blockchain and to crypto. You didn't have that before. You didn't have that 10, 15, 20 years ago. You have that now.
Yeah, and there's something else that's going to be the trigger, and that's to do with pain. See, there's a real advantage in using cryptocurrency to transfer payments, to make payments, versus using banks or credit cards or debit cards. The banks, the credit cards and debit cards, it's painful because there's the time. You know, if I want to send money to a cousin in Pakistan, there's the time that it's going to take, there's the cost of the transfer, and then that I'm relying on this counterparty that may or may not be honest with me. So that those three factors contribute to pain. Now, when that gets too painful relative to the alternatives, then I'll go to the alternatives. So if I want to send my cousin Litecoin, it takes a matter of seconds, and he's got the money. There's nobody else involved. It's just him, peer to peer. And with regards to music, and you know, I was listening to you, Hash Rates, and what you were your question, Alex. I was thinking of CNN and the Duran. I can watch CNN for free. I can watch the Duran's analysis on YouTube, or better still, Rumble, for free, or better still, the locals for free, right? And there's no economic cost, but there's a psychological cost, because the CNN analysis, well, they don't do any analysis. It's really, really poor quality. I'm not going to learn anything from them. There's nothing provocative. So then from that psychological pain will draw people to independent media. So there's the economic pain, say with the bank, with money transfers. There's the psychological pain of really low quality. You know, for me, I use DuckDuckGo. Even though Google as a search engine is free, doesn't cost me anything, but there's the psychological cost that I'm unwilling to bear. So I use DuckDuckGo. And by the way, I've started using Presearch, and I've recorded an interview with Colin from Presearch to find out about that, which is a cryptocurrency blockchain-based solution, right? So there's there's an advantage that I could with Presearch earn cryptocurrency as well, which DuckDuckGo doesn't offer. So with regards to Spotify's fine. You know, it's actually possible to download songs off Spotify for free. I don't have to register for Joe Rogan. I don't have a Spotify account, but I can still use apps to get Joe Rogan for free from Spotify, the whole thing, because decentralized innovation allows for that. And when it becomes so painful for people to use these centralized solutions, well, we'll come up with and start using decentralized solutions. That's how innovation works.
Hash Rate, close out the video. You mentioned WikiLeaks as the perfect customer. Rich talked about content and the fact that there is pain when you watch CNN, and it is painful to watch, that's for sure. But, you know, Assange is in the news, and we're not going to get political, but Assange is in the news, and he is someone who published a lot of sensitive data via WikiLeaks. This is the solution. Etho Protocol is the solution for journalists, for information, for the distribution of truthful content to not only get out to the public, but to safeguard the fact that it won't get taken down. That is huge when you think about it, and you put it into the context of WikiLeaks and Assange, is it not?
It is. And, here is, and Rich asked me, well, give me some examples of people that hosted on your platform. And all I can tell you is I can only tell you how many, not what, right? And who am I to decide what your truth is? That's the biggest problem I have now, particularly being an American, is they're telling me my truth. They're telling me that I don't have the intelligence to decide what my truth is. They are going to define my truth for me. And man, I've got a problem with that. I may not like stuff that's on our network. There may be political views that I don't like. There may be political views that I do like. But let me decide, right? That's what this comes down to, is the decision. Don't tell me what I can and can't read. Don't tell me what I can and can't think. Don't tell me what I can agree or disagree with. Let me decide. I'm old enough that I can make these decisions on my own. And that's the thing that's scary, is they want to define the truth. And I find it abhorrent. Honestly, it's abhorrent. Censorship, and again, like I said, nobody's, there's certain forms of content that nobody can agree with, child pornography or any ultimate acts of violence or terrorism. Nobody would agree with any of that, right? And we're not about that. And we've been very lucky that we haven't had that content on our network because that we know of. Because first of all, we don't know if it's there, but secondarily, because we are actually not that cheap. Those people don't really have the money to use our system, right? There's almost like a barrier of entry that kind of is self-policing. But the idea being is that and that's what bothers me the most is with Etho Protocol, nobody's going to tell you what you can and can't say, and nobody's going to judge your content. There is nobody to judge it, and there's nobody there to make a decision for that. And yeah, there'll be things that I won't disagree with, but God, at least I have the ability to disagree with you. And they want to take that away. And I find it just shocking. And nobody seems to care. Nobody cares. I watch the news every day. I don't care. That doesn't affect me. I'm like, they're chipping away at this thing all day long. It's scary. It's a threat.
It is. I just got to come in here because I was having this conversation with a friend because people wonder, well, how Nazi Germany happened. That could never happen again. Well, if you want to know how it happened, just look around. It happens drip by drip by drip by drip as we get boiled slowly into authoritarian fascism.
Yeah, but the reaction is just as impressive. I mean, I'm listening to Etho Protocol. I'm listening to hash rates, and I'm very impressed, and I'm very confident about the future of things when I hear about technologies like this, because it really does provide a real life solution to a problem that many people think can't be solved. Many people think there's no way we're going to get away from Facebook and Twitter and big tech. It's impossible. But here we have cryptocurrency, decentralization, Etho Protocol, and we have a solution. And we're just at the beginning. I mean, we're just at the beginning. That's what makes it so exciting. Yeah. Any final thoughts, guys? Hash rates, Rich, any final thoughts before we sign off? And we're going to definitely do more programs on this because this is strikes at the heart of what we're all going through all over the world right now. Any final thoughts to our viewers?
I'm just happy to be here. And again, Alex, I appreciate this discussion because I'm so busy being a technologist that I don't get a chance to really talk about why we're here, right? And so this was an opportunity to talk about why Etho Protocol's here. And thank you for that opportunity. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for your listeners.
It's been a pleasure having you on here. Rich, let's sign it off. What are your final words?
Well, one is I would say that definitely people should check out Etho Protocol, but also bpsaa.vision, because there are 9, soon to be 10 projects that are all of the same mindset as Etho Protocol, coming up with decentralized, censorship resistance solutions that empower people. So check that out. And then Alex, I'm just grateful for your channel. I'm grateful for Alexander Mercouris, who's going to be on my channel. It's again and again and again, I hope, and also for the analysis that you provide on the Duran, and your channel and Alex's channel. It's just phenomenal stuff. I've learned so much from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll put all the links down below to Etho Protocol, to Hashrates' work, and Rich will put all the links to your channel and your information as well. You're streaming a lot on ODYSEE right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I post all my videos on YouTube, ODYSEE. My son uploads them onto BitTube TV and BitTube Video, and that takes a bit of time. I've started uploading on 3speak.online, which is a decentralized vlogging platform. ODYSEE is not fully decentralized. But I tweet out ODYSEE. All my videos go on YouTube. Some of them go on ODYSEE because they're not suitable for YouTube. YouTube wouldn't like them.
There you go. the perfect way to close out this video. Hashrates, thank you very much. Cryptorich, as always, thank you very much. Take care, everybody.